Greetings of the day. I know a lot of people have joined from a lot of different parts of the world, UK, US. So thank you for joining. My name is Singh. I lead the robotics, drones, and intelligent machines business at Qualcomm. Today, we'll discuss about the newer technologies like 5G and AI, how they are going to shape the future of the next generation of robotics and intelligent machines. So welcome and thank you for joining. So I can, I'm very positive that everybody here knows about Qualcomm, and but again, I'll give a benefit of doubt. So Qualcomm is at the forefront of innovation for over 30 years. We pay a lot of attention to R&D and new technology development. So we spend $5 billion year on year. Cumulatively, so far, we've spent $64 billion on R&D alone. That results in great technology and things like the patents. We have over 130,000 patents. That is an anecdote of all the technology that we've developed. So Qualcomm has been changing how the world communicates, computes, and the technology leadership that we've had over 30 plus years is enabling all of that. We have defined and the mobile communication, we've digitized it, we redefined computing, both desktop and smartphones as well. And here we are now with 5G and AI transforming industries, connecting virtually everything. So we are enhancing everyday life. Qualcomm technology touches all aspects of humanity. And within Qualcomm, robotics is a big division. That's the division I lead. We are one of the few semiconductor companies that, or only one probably, can claim that we have a specific division for robotics, where we have software, hardware, systems engineers. Day in and day out, their main job is to focus on robotics. So part of our charter is to address diverse robotics challenges. We are in different kind of robots, home care robots, delivery robots, warehouse logistics, agriculture, manufacturing, you name it. And we are in most of the robots. And the proof is in pudding. We have launched numerous robotics products. Here you see names like iRobot, Sony, SoftBank, Skydio Drones, Brain Corporation. It goes on and on. We've put millions of robots commercially deployed with Qualcomm technology there. So we are putting robots in people's homes to clean floors, putting robots in factories and enterprises. At the same time, in the same breath, I can say that we have robots in outer space. The next slide is coming up. We've been partnering with NASA and JPL, and part of that has resulted in a collaboration with NASA and JPL on the Perseverance mission. So part of the mission that we have with NASA and JPL, we're proud to be part of the Ingenuity mission. And for those who know about it, of course, it is game-changing technology. The first time ever there will be a flight that's going to be happening on Mars, which is defining how space exploration happens. So unfortunately, because of technical glitch, you were not able to see the cool video. I'll try to see if we can go back, but in the interest of time, I'll keep going. But yeah, this is a very momentous moment for humanity and science, where Snapdragon processor is on Mars with powering the whole helicopter, which runs on the Snapdragon flight platform. And for those who are following it, just quick update over the weekend. The Perseverance is preparing for the deployment of the Ingenuity helicopter. It's dropped the debris shield. That means within few days now, anytime it's going to drop the helicopter down, place it down, and we'll have the first flight. So it's going to be a true Wright brothers movement for the universe. 150 years ago on planet Earth, we had a Wright brothers movement, which defined how we travel, how logistics are done. Now that's going to happen in space and Mars as well. And all of this we are very humblingly proud of is based on Qualcomm technology. So today what we want to talk about is the technology that we are working on, which is fueling tomorrow's robotics innovations. Namely, things that I want to touch upon is the heterogeneous computing, distributed intelligence, and 5G connectivity. So again, the future is bright. You'll see a lot of robotics and IoT devices out there, and we've pioneered the technology that's powering this future. When it comes to connectivity, from anything from low power Bluetooth to 5G and everything in between, Qualcomm has pioneered those technologies. In terms of processing, we have cutting edge Snapdragon, Qualcomm technology processors that have the best computing capabilities, which we'll touch upon in upcoming slides. So the first piece I want to emphasize on, which is a fundamental building block for any technology or product development, is the compute. And it's not any compute, and that's where I think developers have gotten it wrong over the years, is they pick off-the-shelf GPU, CPUs to do all kind of complex tasks. But the key here is to use different types of processing engines for different computing needs. Every processing engine has its own specialization. So you need to assign the right task to the right engine for the best optimum efficiency and output. So for example, if you have a sequence control kind of algorithms or use case, you would want to use CPU. You have computer vision, you want to use a dedicated hardware for computer vision. You want to use AI. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways people are using GPUs and others, but we think a dedicated neural processing unit is the way to go when it comes to an heterogeneous compute platform. So heterogeneous compute, even though it's not talked about much, is a fundamental building block, and that needs to be paid attention to. At Qualcomm, we have processors that have this, like if you want call it as a Swiss knife, you have the right tool for the right application. And that's what heterogeneous compute is about. And one of those examples I can give about heterogeneous compute is the CV ISP that we built a hardware accelerator on the chip to do computer vision. So in past, people used ISP and ran computer vision algorithms on CPUs and GPUs. Well, that works, but is it efficient? When right here, when you use a dedicated hardware accelerator for computer vision, for things like object classification, SLAM, 6DoF, depth sensing, etc., you get extreme boost because this is a dedicated hardware accelerator. At the same time, you get a lot of power savings. So it's no brainer that you need to use the right tool to make your life easier. So definitely that's heterogeneous compute. I want to underscore the need of that. Moving on, the next technology I think fundamentally that is coming together is on-device intelligence. We've talked about AI, everybody's aware of AI. But when we talk about AI today, people think about central cloud. But as devices get more and more smarter, we are seeing there's a lot of momentum for on-device intelligence. The attach rate for on-device intelligence in 2018, 2019 around was 10%, but it's quickly going to be 100% attached by 2025, which is significant. And we'll talk about why on-device AI is important. It is not only important, it is paramount. Just an example or anecdote right there is the Mars helicopter, right? It needs to be able to do things, perceive, reason, act autonomously, do path planning, obstacle avoidance right then and there. There is no cloud, there's no edge, there's nothing. So the device has to be smart enough to have a lot of intelligence. So on-device AI is paramount. Privacy, reliability, immediacy, efficiency, and personalization. These are key reasons for robotics and IoT devices to have on-device intelligence, of course. And when we talk about on-device intelligence, it doesn't mean that it's easy solution or easy problem to solve. There's a lot of inherent challenges of AI workloads, which are compute intensive, which are large, complicated models. But at the same time, the device have constraints, such as a robot or a handheld device would require, which will be battery operated. So you need to be worrying about a lot of things like storage, memory, thermal efficiency. So power and thermal efficiency is critical for the promise of this 100% attach of connected devices. So at Qualcomm, not only we are championing the on-device AI, but we are making it power efficient for the reasons we talked about in the previous slide. Make it more power efficient and more AI using right hardware. Like we discussed about heterogeneous compute, that's the building block. You select the right compute task to get the optimization and thermal efficiency. So when you're doing AI, you're doing it on neural processing engine with advanced algorithms that are state of art networks and optimized to run on energy efficient. At the same time, having a full software tool set to make it happen. So at Qualcomm, our R&D is focused on making edge AI and on-device AI very, very pervasive. So our approach for AI is by having the right hardware that we do, having the right hardware blocks, be it SoCs or even server cards, um, frameworks, or operating system ecosystems. This is an end-to-end system problem, and a company like Qualcomm, that is an engineering systems engineering company at heart, believes in an end-to-end system solution, and we are focused on all these areas. So AI is definitely important, and it is opening up a lot of new applications on a daily basis. So from AI, we move to 5G, and we'll see how this all come together. But again, 5G is another piece of technology that is outstandingly amazing because of the reasons of it not being just a mobile technology. We'll cover that. But 5G is here. 2019 was year of 5G deployment. 2020 was rollout. 2021 is expansion. So we are going to see 5G moving into a lot of areas beyond mobile broadband. So people think 5G as a next mobile technology, but it's far beyond that. It uh, it it built on this fundamental three pillars: mission critical services, enhanced mobile broadband, and massive Internet of Things. All of these have their own requirements and challenges, and 5G is built to handle those kind of challenges. And like I mentioned, 5G is going to be phenomenal. It is going to help grow the ecosystem across industries, across segments. Based on the reports, over $12 trillion of digital economic output is going to be enabled by 5G by year 2035, which is massive, which is really massive. And why 5G is important for applications beyond mobile. For example, in mission critical activities, 5G comes with a lot of bells and whistles that are features that are needed for industrial IoT. For example, a feature like ultra reliable low latency. So you have ultra low latency of sub millisecond end to end latency, but at the same time, the reliability that is needed is also achieved, and availability too. So for factories and autonomous vehicles and robotics, this kind of technology is groundbreaking. It's going to usher new use cases and change how robots behave in factories, etc. So there's cool features that are coming together on 5G as well. But we discussed about AI and we discussed about 5G. Independently, these two technologies are powerhouses. They are, like we discussed, enabling new economic streams and generating new industries and enabling new industries. But when 5G and AI come together, magic happens. So that's the age of 5G and AI, where you will see a lot of, we discuss about on-device AI, but edge is going to be very important as well. Think of a scenario of a private factory where you need a lot of robots, but at the same time, because you need more compute and there's no option of cloud, you need edge cloud, which means on premises compute more than on device as well. So to be able to have scalability, robustness, big data analytics, you need a lot more compute than on the device as well. So on device is important, but edge cloud is also important, and 5G is going to enable that connection between the device and 5G. But the true expansion that's going to happen is with the concept of distributed intelligence, with AI and 5G coming together, seamlessly connecting the device to the edge and the edge to the cloud, central cloud. This is the concept of the distributed intelligence paradigm, which is required for a massive IoT expansion. And that's going to be happening because of these two technologies coming together. And this is just going to have a tremendous impact, tidal wave of IoT expansion, 43 billion connected devices by 2023 itself. It's going to touch every aspect of our life. So these technologies are really powerful. They are going to be applicable in all kind of scenarios, enabling smart warehouses, for example. If you think about lights out fulfillment centers, 5G, robotics, AI coming together is going to make that happen. If you think about industry 4.0 or factory of the future, which is smart manufacturing, is made possible with 5G and with edge AI as well, where you have private 5G networks and great reliability and latencies that we talked about. So you can imagine the future of flexible manufacturing, which means reconfigurable factories. And that's again the power of 5G and AI. And I can go on and on. Things like remote mining operations, things like port facilities, things like utilities, grid operations, oil and gas, offshore, onshore, all of these industries are going to be tremendously uplifted with the use cases that 5G and AI are going to bring together. So with all of this, we've discussed the technologies, but with all of this in mind, Qualcomm is not only putting great technology R&D investment, but we are commercializing great platforms. And we launched the world's first 5G and AI robotics platform last year. And it's been a tremendous thing. It's one of those products that not only brings the technology together, but we have built it as a purpose-built robotics development kit. So for the community, what it means is you don't just get the AI and 5G chip, you get a robotic development kit that comes with pre-integrated sensors, pre-integrated vision cameras, depth cameras, motor control mezzanines that are there. We'll talk about the mezzanines in a bit, but this is all uh, the power of putting everything together as a development kit. And of course, we have ways to make it quick prototype, at the same time be able to have different commercialization choices as well. For industrial applications, we have Ethernet, EtherCAT, you name it. This is kitchen sink for any kind of robotic application, I would say. And not only that, we have been launching these products, it's being recognized heavily by the industry as well. The last 2 years ago in 2019, we launched the RB3 robotics platform. You guys will be very much aware of that, and we'll cover that in the next slide as well. But that won the Robotics Innovation Award for AI at the Global Expo in 2019. Then it was also ranked as the top 10 Linux single board computers in 2019. And now with RB5, the Silicon Valley Robotics recognizes it as a industry award for good robot processing power and the AI and 5G coming together. So it's gaining a lot of visibility and recognition as well. But at the same time, we have been putting a lot of work in collaborations. There's a lot of fruitful collaboration that's happening, especially with Linaro. We started this journey with Linaro in 2014. We started working with Linaro. We launched the Dragon Board 410C, the Dragon Board 820C, and this RB3 and RB5 platform are also in association with Linaro. This follows the 96 board compatible design, and that's where we have this Lego kind of hardware, which has the processor, the mezzanine cards, and everything to go with it. So this is, and you will see many more RBX platforms in future. I don't want to spoil the teasers, but stay tuned. You will be hearing more about future RBXs as well in collaboration with Linaro. And Linaro has been great. They've been working with us very closely. We have leveraged the 96 board consumer edition for the mezzanine design. Linaro provides and maintains Linux BSPs for the upstream version for these robotics platforms. And there's a big developer, Linaro developer community working on these Qualcomm technology platforms as well. And we talked about the hardware being a Lego format because it's specifically in the 96 board compatible design where you can pick and choose the mezzanines you want. Similarly, our software architecture is also has a similar architecture where you have, of course, the hardware that we talked about, which is heterogeneous compute. You have all these processing blocks, cameras, the DSPs, and the AI engines. And then on top, in the middleware, you have this SDKs or the modules, which are the multimedia subsystem, the robotic vision module, the robotics navigation, and AI, all of part of it. And on the user space for developer community, we make this so easy with sensor nodes as ROS nodes, and you have ROS applications, and you have open source applications. You can do your own SLAM kind of applications. When you want to use fast CV, you have it. When you use GStreamer in combination with open source application or a ROS application, you can pick and choose. So the software architecture also goes with the same thought process of the 96 board community approach of the Lego format. So that's where we are at. In addition to having the RBX in Linaro community, we also have a Qualcomm developer network, which has multiple ecosystem. It's a member directory, Qualcomm Advantage Network, where we have development kits along with projects. On GitHub, we have a few few codes, access to codes as well on GitHub, etc. So there's a lot going on beyond just having the platforms out there. We have community and others. So with all of this, what we are doing is enabling the development and maker community with putting the brains of smartphones in the innovator hands to with key technologies. So I know there are a few questions, but I have this was one of my last slides where I want to wrap up by talking about the Qualcomm philosophy and approach is an end-to-end system solution approach. We have great chipsets. We have a roadmap of good, better, best. We can address a $200 toy robot needs and a $2 million factory robot needs. We have that breadth of the portfolio, and we have the software and the tools to go with it, like the SDKs. We have the hardware platforms, ecosystem support, and all of it. So with the R&D innovation and everything that we have been doing, which is laying the foundation with the 5G and AI technology leadership, advanced silicon that we are putting out there, with the ecosystem investment, we are uniquely positioned to power the next generation of connected machines, devices, robots, you name it. So with that, I'll thank you so much. I'll take some questions. I guess they're in the chat window here. I do have trouble with the speaker, so looks like yes. So the first question is, where is the place to ask the questions? They're in the developer network. At the same time, Lenaro community also can answer those questions about the hardened processors. We can talk about it, but we'll be happy to take your questions on the developer network. Did you need a red hardening for Mars? Actually, that's the beauty about it. We did not. This was off-the-shelf device, off-the-shelf product, and among a lot of other processors that were compared or talked about for this mission, Qualcomm was one of those ones that was able to withstand the radiations and the gravitational requirements and G forces. It did not disintegrate. We had done nothing for it to harden it. It is off the shelf, and we are all pleasantly happy and surprised, not surprised, but happy that the rigor that we put into our products is going into these kind of applications. Support for ISP. So next question is, support for ISP for computer vision is really interesting. How can I know more about this platform? Great. Again, Qualcomm Developer Network has all the details. If you can, I will type my email right here, and when you get a chance, if you want to send me a note, that will also work. I can connect you to the right people. And I think so. Most of the questions are around Mars hardening. I'm sure NASA JPL has done a lot of system level hardening, but at the processor level, software level, it is out of the box, off the shelf. What's the purpose of RB3 and RB5 platforms? The purpose of RB3 and RB5 platforms are for the developer community to be able to accelerate the development for robotics, time to market, and meet all the different challenges of robotics. I think those are the questions that we had here. With that, I guess I will take leave. Thank you so much. And please don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions.